All right, boys and girls, we are live. My name is Oliver Manalese. I'm with my boy Christopher Lim and Joey Ragona.
DJ Joe D.
You are listening to Meridius Radio Live. What day is it today? It's Thursday, someday in May.
Thursday.
May 17th, I think it is.
Love that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Someday in May.
17th.
Awesome. So if this is the first time that you're watching, welcome. This is for holistic entrepreneurs out there. Essentially people who are business people. If you're in sales, if you're an artist, if you're an investor, an inventor, or a freelancer, we're pretty much having conversations with people about redefining wealth and success to encompass more than just a number in the bank. It's really about relationships and passion and the sense of fulfillment, having peak health and high energy and clarity and balance in your life. So essentially, I mean, what we're going to be talking about today on this show and is pretty much just about, starting at the level of the self and change and personal growth. And if you want to follow us, find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/holistic, the holistic entrepreneur. Our YouTube channels, Holistic Entrepreneur, will show all of the highlights of this show. If you want the full episodes, you could find it on Ustream or the YouTube channel for Meridius Media. All the new viewers and likes, thank you very much. We got a couple of new likes on the Facebook page. So welcome to all the new holistic entrepreneurs.
Power of DJ.
Yeah,
Joey
baby.
D.
Yeah, it's the power of DJ Joey
I sure
D.
hope so.
That's why we got so many more likes this
Oh
week.
yeah, thank you. That's flattering, man. Thank you.
So before we have Joey start talking, I kind of want to introduce you. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. Go for
All
it.
right, awesome. So DJ Joey D was his AKA back in the day.
Back in the
Was
day.
it early 90s?
Yeah, I was. Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of when it went viral, right? So around the 93, 94 era, kind of was Joey D, and I started early, and I think it was 85 was when I first started actual DJing.
Wow.
So yeah,
85. That's when I was born.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
93,
So
this is when I started
80
high school.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grade
I mean,
Oh my
85 was
God.
kind of when it took off. So, between 80 to 84, I was kind of just, going crazy, just in the bedroom, kind of going nuts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're, the reason I wanted to have you on, I put it on my Facebook page, the reasons why I wanted to have you on, the reasons why I'm excited. And it's pretty much because, number one, when I was in high school, I used to listen to dance music and freestyle music. I had freaking crazy hair, and I'd go to Summer Rush and stuff like that. So I'm a huge fan of your work when you were in the DJ and the music world, the celebrity club DJ.
Yeah, thanks.
And then when I first met you, I actually bumped into you before I think it was a Philip McKernan base camp event.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting in the
Is that the first time
lounge.
you guys met?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I think we might have seen each other at Rain, but
Yeah.
when we actually did introduce ourselves to each other, we were in the lounge, and you were just telling somebody a story about, all I heard was like, drugs and music and dance and stuff like that. I'm just like, wait, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
So I jumped into the conversation, and I'm like, dude, I used to listen to you, and that's how it began. We were at the same seminar together.
That's right.
And what really intrigued me was the fact that you really knew who you were already.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
It seems like you were already willing to transform and willing to change, and it's like when you do change and transform, you're already moving forward. Like you don't wait around, and I know there was a lot of questions directed at you about what your passion is, and you knew, like you were very, very straight with it. And since I've known you, like as a real estate investor, now you're a real estate mentor, real estate coach. You have your blog, engageinvestor.ca. So you're doing a lot of things right now.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to have you on.
Well, I mean, I'm really excited to be here because this has really been a great movement. I've been watching you guys over the last little while, and this is just the beginning of a huge movement. And I'm really, really proud to be here at the beginning of this thing because I can only see, even in a couple of weeks from now, what this is going to be like. So awesome. You're doing a lot of good things too.
Yeah, thank you.
Props to you guys.
Well, I'm glad that you're on.
Thank you.
We actually, I guess the whole story behind Holistic Entrepreneur started with our mastermind group.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the first time we met.
Right.
Was that the
very
first time you
day.
guys met?
I've never met him before. I just saw him online. I saw what you would post, and you guys would have conversation. I'm like, who's
Share
this
and
guy?
stuff like that. Yeah,
Joey. Who's this guy, Joey?
yeah. I know.
So I'd always read the stuff, and I'm like, I gotta meet this guy, Joey.
This guy's a Facebook celebrity.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the first time that when we had our first mastermind meeting. That was the first time I met.
So that was like January 2011.
Yeah.
And I remember going into that meeting thinking, what kind of value are we gonna get? We're all real estate
What are we
investors.
getting ourselves into?
I know, what are we getting ourselves into? We're all doing the same thing. Like, what are we gonna learn?
Right.
But eventually, the more we talked and the more we met, like with our mastermind group, we found out that success and wealth is so much more than just money and buying properties and building financial wealth.
Yeah.
What we realized is, it starts there. That's like the surface stuff. But as soon as you get down to the core, it's really, what's happening in your personal life, what's going on in your head, are you on the right path and stuff like that.
Exactly. I mean, we kind of bonded right away. That first meeting for me, it was a bond right away. And becoming vulnerable with everybody in the room is really important because you can get to that level of what's real, what's not real, and challenge each other. And that's the importance of having the mastermind. That to me is what a real mastermind is about. That's what we do with our clients and everybody that comes to our prospecting mastermind type of thing. But it's more about, are you willing to get to that vulnerability to get to what's real and what you're saying is real and be challenged on that. And I think that's what really made us click, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah,
we did some major things from January of 2011, all of us, every single person in that room,
January 2012
to where we are right now.
Oh yeah, big changes.
So much change.
And every single month, it was not like a long time. It was like every single month we met, something was majorly changed. Right?
Yeah, we were all kind of going up, but it was up and down, different people up and down, but ultimately all of us were on that track going upwards. Our lives, our businesses, just who we were as people.
That's right.
We made a lot of decisions. I mean, we made a lot of new decisions and took new directions just in those 12 months.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, I mean, from the beginning, it's like, this is my intention. This is what I want to achieve. I want to meet with people and, keep me accountable to invest in more property and build my business this way. And little did we know that it was going to be so much more deeper than that.
Oh, it was a lot deeper.
And that's how Holistic Entrepreneur was born. Because it's just like, it's all encompassing. Right?
It was born from that mastermind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you mentioned that even way back then. It was in the February, March area where this is what you were talking about, wanting to fulfill the world with knowledge and just helping people get to the next level of just inner peace of where they want to be. And this is what you're communicating. It's fantastic.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So what's been going on with you recently? So it's been how long now since you started your new business?
Since the coaching business we started in August. And that was a real eye-opener for me, which is a great thing. And where we are now is we've kind of retooled the business more. We're getting more involved in who we actually want to work with. We talk a lot about focus, and we talk a lot about being real and vulnerable, all the stuff we just spoke about.
Yeah.
And
while we were waiting for you,
I find that there's a lot of people who are really confused between the commitment level and the interest level. And I really want to work with people that are completely committed and believing in themselves. And that's the only way you're going to be successful. Like, everything starts from the belief. Everything starts from within. And when you believe in yourself, then everything's going to happen. Because you're going to believe in something that you want to do, like what you're doing here, and you're going to commit to doing it. You're going to commit to being here every Thursday or every day, or whatever that's going to look like.
Big goals need big habits.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You need to change your habits in order to get the results that you want. So that's kind of how we've retooled our business, and I think it's really working, because when you get to people that are in that level, that commitment level, it's a completely different conversation. As you know, within that room that we were committed. And we were there every single month to be there, no matter what. Yeah. And we stayed there for hours on hours, just because we had. If it was one guy having an issue, we would stay there and get through the issue. Yeah. It wouldn't be like, well, hey, listen, I got to get going. The hockey game. No, it's like,
we got to get through it. We got to complete it. Yeah. We got to make it.
Let's get the result. Yeah. And that's kind of where that coaching is going.
So was that kind of like what inspired you to think about it? Because I know you mentioned before that you were getting a lot of comments and questions, and people were asking for advice from you, like via email and stuff like that, just bombarding you because of your blog and your doing your speaking engagements and things like that. So was that kind of an avenue that you thought would be a good fit because you were already helping so many people?
Yeah, I think that.
What was it?
I kind of again looked at the niche of what people were asking me during the 3 or 4 years before last August, and it was always about business. It was always about, joint venture partners or attracting them, or it all had to do with how do you get more of this.
It was the how.
How do you get more of that? And I don't proclaim that I'm an expert on anything. There's tons of people that do more business than I do, more real estate, have more doors, have more JVs, and all that kind of stuff. But what I found was people, they couldn't bounce back to a level, like they'd get to the fundamentals, they'd learn the information, they'd learn everything you needed to know, and then what? There was a lack of where you could go back to build the business, to move forward. And that's kind of where I saw myself a little bit different than most people, because it was like, okay, I learned this. Now what do I need to do? Okay, let's build the business based on the information that I have. And I found that there was some sort of a disconnect there with a lot of people
between the learning and the application.
Right. Because we can all get information from anywhere.
Right.
It's like, but how are you going to apply it? And is it the right information at the right time being applied?
Right.
So that really hit me. I'm going, okay, that's the block. Because yes, you could know about whatever it is you're learning, but it may not be the right time, or you may not even have a connection to really what you want by using this information.
You might have it in here, but not in here, kind of thing, eh?
Exactly. And I found that, when we drill down, we kind of, we really, really drill down on people, and we bring the reality out and say, what is this really about? And I can tell you one of the major things that comes out is that people are afraid to say it's about money. And a lot of times it is at the beginning of your business. You need to survive. You need to build your business.
They're afraid to admit that it's really all about money at that point.
Right. They're afraid to say.
And do you think that's a drawback? Do you think that limits them because they're so focused on the money? Is it?
It's a limitation. In their mind, it's a limitation because it's a social limitation, really. They're afraid of admitting that, and they're trying to do everything else, bringing in other things to cover up what it really is about. Mm-hmm. But when you admit this, if you need to get to this one level, let's say whatever that is, you may have to pay off a loan this year.
Yeah.
So let's do this and get your loan paid off, because as soon as you clear financial strain, you could actually look deeper and say, okay, now this is really what I want to do. Is the real estate, like I'm going to use my example, real estate, is it what I want to do? Is this where I want to focus my time and energy? But if you got all this other strain over here that you're kind of pushing away, pretending it's not there, it's not going to work.
So you're just pushing it aside, and the more it accumulates, you have all this stuff going on inside, whether it's, maybe you have some debt, or you have some emotional stuff, or you have like a previous business, or you're at a current job, and there's all these things in the way of you getting there, and you got to deal with it first. Is that really?
Yeah, you have to deal with what's real. We all know that it's not about the money, because if you're buying real estate only for the money, that's not the long-term thing you should really be going after.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's instilled at the beginning. Well, it's not about the money. Well, maybe it is at this point. Maybe it is that you want.
Well, it's like first things first, right?
Yeah. Let's do first things first. Let's get rid of the clutter in our mind, the chaos, the stress, and everything else. Let's get rid of that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where Mike and I that's where we come from.
Yeah.
Let's just get real, because we're not attached to it. There's very few people that can actually pull the wool over my eyes and pretend that they're doing it for something else when I see exactly something different. Mm-hmm. I think that's where I'm really stepping into who I really, really am, and not afraid. And I think that, I was just at a conference in San Diego, and we were just talking about Rich Sheffrin and a couple of people, and I think it was either Rich or maybe Greg Hapstert or somebody said on stage that, you can play in the mediocre, or you can play over here, being the best you can be or being the worst you can be. And a lot of people, they want to play in the mediocre.
In the middle.
They want to play in the middle because they want to be liked by everybody. Mm-hmm. And I really identified with that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? If you come to my coaching or you want to deal with me, you either like me or you don't. And I'm cool with that.
You polarize it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's what you need to do with your business. Like if you just...
Well, you know what? Not a lot of people have been entrepreneurs for as long as you've been. And in a like a DJ celebrity status where, it is polarized, where you potentially have, enemies, people who want to take you down, or people are just really competitive.
Yeah.
Right? And not a lot of people have experienced that. And if you're like a regular Joe Schmo employee and you're trying to pursue entrepreneurship, like your own business or investing in real estate, you're like leaving the bubble, and everything that this comfort, this security is not there anymore. You know,
Yeah.
so is that like, if that's a lot that you can deliver?
It's true. I mean, imagine going into an interview. You know, you're going into a regular interview as, you know, you're trying to get the job, and you perceive that you're the prize. Imagine going in there and saying, you need to impress me
You're freaking
to
lucky
come
to
and
have
work
me.
for you.
Right.
But not saying that, but coming with that
But
perception.
that's how you show up. Yeah,
you know,
Attitude.
it's a completely different attitude. That's the way you need to go through life. Like you are here for a reason to give the world something. And what is it? Are you willing to get to that level to give the world what you have to give to them? And that's the way I look at it. You know, I have a gift that I believe that I could give entrepreneurs, and I'm going to go for it the best way that I see I can do it. And some people aren't going to agree with it, and that's cool. I'd rather deal with the people who can agree with it and can, you know, I can push them forward and who are committing to getting to that level.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. I mean, you look at all the people who are up at that upper echelon, you will have that polarity. They're gonna have the lovers and they're gonna have the haters.
Yeah.
You can't play in the middle. If you want to get to that next level, you're gonna have to piss off some people.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody's gonna agree with you, and you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and he's right. I mean, all the way through, you know, the DJing world, that's the way it was. But, you know, I was so confident in what I was doing, and you can call it whatever you want. Cockiness, you can call it whatever you want. But for me, it was a complete belief of what I could do, essentially, for the business, for the club, and for myself. So that resonated.
So you understood and you were aware of the value that you had.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't go in and you know, play for less just to get the gig. You know, I had my demands. And back then it was kind of funny but I was one of the only guys who would, you know, get free food or free booze or get paid a week in advance. You know, it was
Wow.
it was unheard of,
Wow.
because it was like, well, who do you think you are? Well, this is why I think I need to get paid in advance. And basically the reason is because there was no loyalty. Like you could walk into your job and there's another
There's
DJ
another guy
playing
there.
and they're like, what happened? Oh,
Yeah.
we forgot to call you.
Kidding me?
So
that
yeah,
happens?
for sure it happens.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know anymore, but at that point,
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what, I'm way more valuable than this. So you pay me in advance. And
Well, I mean, when you know your value, it's such a different such a different place to come from. If you're out there and you're only looking at, you know, I'm gonna do this job just so I can make the money, you're gonna do just enough to get the amount that you want, and then you're done, and then you're not gonna put any more into it.
Right.
When you're coming from the place of, I know my value, I know what I can deliver, I know what I'm offering. Like, you're there to just, you know, expand your own abilities and to share what you're able to do.
That's right.
And I mean, that's from an abundant place.
Yeah.
I think.
yeah,
That's why those people, they get paid a lot more.
yeah, for sure. I mean, from all the people that I've met in the last few years that are really high level thinkers and just great down to earth people, they all say no way more than they say yes. It's an amazing discovery, and it's so simple that they continue to refine and say, no, I'm not
Staying
doing
the course
this.
kind of thing.
Yeah, it's still on the same path, but it's more refining it and retooling and saying, nah, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this more.
Well,
You know, it's-
I've done a couple of no's in the last 12
Isn't
months.
it
too.
amazing?
Yeah. And you know what? It's for me, it's like I want to pre-decide what I'm going to say no to. It's almost like this is what I'm doing, and everything else is just, it's a no. It's
Yeah.
already a no. So people can come up to me and offer me an opportunity or whatever it is. I don't have to think about it. It's already no, because it doesn't fit. Like it's not even there.
And that's power.
Yeah.
Because that brings the yeses that you're going to say yes to into your life. You attract it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
It's like you said, you already know it's there. Like this is what my model is. This is what I'm doing. And as soon as something violates that, you just go, no, it's cool. I'm not into that. You know, and I had it even this week. People with joint ventures and they want to do something outside of what I do. You know, lots of money being thrown at me.
Yeah.
But it's not about the money in terms of how much I can get from the person. It's does this fit what they want to do
It
into
wouldn't be
what my
sustainable if they just kept saying yes and just
Yeah.
kept taking these opportunities.
it would mean more chaos in my life
Yeah.
because then I would have to conform to what they wanted because it's their investment.
Right.
Right. So, you know, if a real estate investor is looking at, you know, building a model, that's kind of what I suggest to them. Know exactly what you're doing, and then you get the people that are going to fit that model. Otherwise, you're just bouncing around. You're just looking for all kinds of
Looking for
ways
the
to
next shiny-
satisfy these people, and that's all you're going to be doing is satisfying everybody else but yourself.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry.
That's all right. We talked about spit on the mic.
We talked about
It's okay.
There we go. We can get our camera.
So do you
Yeah.
think? I mean, so that idea of getting investors and entrepreneurs to stay focused and keeping their eye on the prize, is that one of the biggest issues? Like, are there other major issues that are kind of underlying that they don't really get that they have until they talk to someone like you?
It's really about the belief, and it's about the focus.
Like believing in themselves,
Believing-
and what they're creating,
Believing
and, like,
why
their
they're doing
vision
it.
and-
Believing why they're doing it. It's all about belief. I think it was like John Assaraf he's really influential in my life. I've met him a few times and being able to sit down with him.
That's
and
awesome.
What I like about John is the fact that he's able to take big ideas or big concepts and drill them down and to make it really simple. And one of the things that he does is he talks about there's 3 things that really control what your results are, and those are your beliefs, your values, and your habits. Really, that's it.
And they all go together as well.
Yeah,
don't
exactly. They all go together. So if you look at that one little model and say, okay, out of those 3 things, the beliefs, values, and your habits, you're getting your results because of those. So if something's not going on in your life right, then some of these are messed up. And I looked at that and I thought that's so true, because everybody that we meet, most of the time, 98% of people have trouble with their belief system. Their values are kind of okay, and their habits are all messed up. Like all of our habits are messed up, right?
Yeah.
We need to fix our habits. So that's kind of
It's an ongoing, forever type
it's
of...
universal.
Yeah.
But and then I looked at myself and thought, what's the difference between me and somebody else? More like the 2% of people that I'm in that zone, I think, as opposed to the 90% of people that have trouble with the belief. And I realized back when I was 14 years old, going, okay, I want to be a DJ. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be on radio. I'm going to do. I just believed in it, and that's the hardest part to bring back to people, to say you need to completely believe in what you want to do.
Well, you know what? I think, one of the big issues that I know that I encounter, and that I'm sure like we've all encountered, is being in an environment or being surrounded by people who are not supportive or who do not have that belief in you. So it's like you got to believe in yourself way more than other people's disbelief in you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because you could have friends or family or coworkers or whatever it is that are just like, it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna buy 4 properties this year. Yeah, good luck. Like $1 million in real estate? Are you kidding me? Like, where are you gonna get that money from? That doesn't work. Get rich quick schemes and scam and all that. And if you believe in yourself, you're 14 years old and you're like, I want to be a DJ. I want to be in music. I want to be a producer. People your age, it must have been like, you're kidding yourself, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's like 1 in a million shot. Like, you think you're 1 in a million?
Yeah.
But fuck yeah, I am 1 in a million.
Yeah.
I know I'm 1 in a million, and that's how you got there.
That's how I got there. Like I never knew how I was going to get there. The complete belief
wasn't the how.
always there.
Yeah.
And then just like it's a cliche. A lot of people talk about it. The how comes.
Yeah.
The belief is
Yeah.
first, but the how comes, and it's
Absolutely.
amazing how it happens. It just does. The how just shows up.
Is after.
It's just,
Secondary.
Find out why, believe in the why, and then the how and the what shows up. Like, what am I going to do, and how am I going to do that? So that's kind of what, if we fast forward to now where we are, this is what we do, is we focus on why are you doing this? And do you believe in it enough to go forward, to go through the dips, right?
Yeah.
We talked about the dips a lot. We talked about the walls you hit. And we all go through that because there's a point where we believe, but we only believe to a certain point. We're only going to give
They believe until the stars align and,
whatever it is. I'm going to give myself 3 months and then I'll see.
Yeah.
Well, come on. You know what? When you get to that 3rd month, you're probably further than you were 3 months ago.
Exactly.
And you've built 3 more months of habits, of thoughts and ideas that, have not supported you.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you didn't do anything. You didn't take action.
That's right.
That's
You've got momentum going.
if you start right now. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, but to give up, I don't get it. I don't get when you get to
right
that point,
there.
you just give up at that momentum point. So, there's a point if you continue to do things and nothing's happening. Yeah, like we're not idiots. Let's give
Yeah.
up something.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're smart enough and you can measure something and that's what you're doing, and you do see some
see
progression,
results.
right?
Yeah.
Like with yourself, if you look back and you look at the 3 months and you say, okay, I was there, now I'm here. You see measurability.
Right. You could see yourself moving forward. So we had a whole conversation right before you came. We were talking about that the whole
You
beliefs.
wasted the
I know
talk.
we had that whole conversation. I mean, we were sitting there for a little bit. We had a little.
That's 'cause he
conversation.
was late.
And, yeah, you were late.
Guy, man.
So we were waiting on Oliver, but Joey came early. So
The
we had a
green
little
room, in the green
conversation, and we also, just to kind of go off track, we were just talking about how we have conversations, and then we just kind of stopped talking so that we could get the footage on camera.
Yeah. So we just recorded instead.
We were sitting there, Joey and I were sitting there in silence for about 10 minutes, and we were like, okay, no, we need to talk about
It's
something.
weird.
It's just kind of weird. So, no, but we had the conversation of my wife, Michelle, who at this point, I don't know if she told you, she got her offer yesterday.
Yeah.
And then
New contract.
a new contract, and then another
Wicked.
company approached her yesterday. Like
Another one?
yeah, to do the same
Wow.
thing. So,
Wow.
and I was talking to Joey, and we were talking about that, having that belief.
She
Right,
believes in
and-
herself way more than
Oh,
anyone
anybody
else.
Yeah,
But it's the
Believe.
support
Yeah,
system,
yeah.
man.
And
Like,
the support
give
was there.
yourself the credit for that.
Oh, absolutely. I was there to support her the whole way, but we talked about the beginning of the year and, just how, when we still had the mastermind, we were still kind of going through the dips, and it was like, okay, what's going on? We still need to take care of the family, but no,
you
it's
gotta
the belief.
believe, man.
Have that belief, to have the values, right? Have the belief and the habits. And Michelle kept those habits, and same thing with myself. We kept the belief, we kept the habits, we had our core values that we have as a couple and as a family, and that pushed us through right to this point. And
Wow.
we
And
go
now
through those
look-
dips where it's like, oh, you know what? We're approaching zero in the bank account. Let's do something quick. Throw the money in there. It was not a
believe it until you see
believing
it.
until
You see it.
but we looked back, and every single month we were further than where we were the month before.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, you know what?
Every inch
It's
closer.
It's here. It's coming. It's right there. So just keep moving forward. Keep believing. Keep following through with your habits, and like all of a sudden, the floodgates open, and it's all right there for
Right.
you to
Oh
take.
my god.
Now imagine if you would have left it, in
Yeah,
in
2
March
weeks ago, or
2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
Like just let
So,
go
yeah.
of the belief.
Because it's right there. Like you just can't see what's around the corner.
It's like the
And then-
3 feet from gold story.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, acres of diamonds.
Yeah.
I mean, because even our situation. 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, even 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, we could have just been like, forget it, fuck it.
Screw it.
Let's-
Start something else.
Yeah,
Or
let's
something.
go get a job. Just go. We need some cash, and just go and get a job.
Yeah.
But
No,
having
man.
that belief.
If you just keep going at it, you're going to be 1 inch closer every single moment,
But I think one of the major things, though, to take from this is the fact that you focused as well. Like you were going after one specific thing.
And you kept
Absolutely.
it in here.
Okay, that's the key. Because it's not only
Instead
about
of
it's not only about the
like all
belief.
over
It's
the
about
place.
okay, I believe in this, but hey, I'm gonna go after this too.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second, there's another thing over here. Yeah, I still believe in this. I'm
Yeah.
still going for it.
Yeah.
Really?
But it's like I want to
Come
have
on.
my foot in here and here because just in case this one doesn't come
Yeah.
through, then I have this as a backup. No, it's just like there is no plan B. This is where I'm headed.
Exactly. Ask my wife what that feels like. When you,
yeah.
when you give up, a few $100,000 in the studio, and the next day is like, guess what? I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Just you've been you've
know,
done that.
you-
You've done that probably 2 or 3
2 or
times.
3 times
in
in
the
my
last
career- in my
decade.
life,
yeah,
right?
yeah, or in your life. Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do? Well, I don't know what tomorrow's gonna be like,
That's
but here's what I
amazing.
want to do.
That's
But that's,
scary
mean,
stuff.
I think that's also important that you're gonna hit those plateaus. You're gonna get through those dips, and sometimes you're gonna have to go off course. But when you have that belief, when you go through and you get to break through that, it's gonna bring you to a completely different level.
Yeah.
Right? Just
Yeah.
you're a completely different person now than you were 10 years ago, and who knows what we're gonna be in the next 10 years. We could be doing something completely different, but if you're just sticking at something and it's not here, right? You don't believe in it.
There's
you-
no
you know
alignment.
there's no alignment. Your values aren't there, then you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah.
So if you guys are just tuning in, you're listening to Meridius Radio Live. We are here with Joey Ragona. He is a real estate business mentor and coach and expert investor, and we're talking about belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Frig, man. And you know what? That actually reminds me of Philip McKernan's picture on the wall. He has that picture
He
that
does.
says believe.
Yeah, that's right.
You remember the
right.
story about that? It was like Ireland versus Italy, was it?
Yeah,
like
I don't.
like a soccer game.
It was a soccer game, and they just.
I wish I could tell that story as well.
Yeah,
did.
we'll leave it
with the Irish accent.
You could
too.
probably go to his site and he'll probably have some sort of story on there about that.
And it wasn't like believe in yourself or like believe in your team. It was just
Believe. Yeah.
Which is I get goosebumps.
It's true. Me
thinking
too,
about
man.
it.
It's like
Yeah.
crazy. But it is about the belief. I love the fact that if you do get to that point where you believe in everything, nothing can stop you. It's an amazing place to live. I'm sure you guys agree with that. I mean, you guys both believe in yourselves a lot, and trying to communicate that to other people is what this really is about.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I like to talk about, which is, I'd say the three, treasures of life is, beauty, truth, and love. And from that, it starts from the self, which is self-knowledge, self-love, and, self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's really what it is, right?
Right.
When you start in that place, that's how you really get the belief, because you're breaking down, you're peeling the onion, you're figuring out, what am I afraid of, and what really gets me going, and what makes me happy in my life, and you're really digging in there. Then you start to believe in yourself. You start to understand yourself. You start to know yourself, and I mean I think that's where the confidence comes from. It's from that, starting from the self, starting here.
And you know what that reminds me of too is one thing that I talk a lot to the clients about, or anybody really, is I mention to them that they shouldn't be afraid of space, and really what that means is
Space.
Is just like you know what? That's my wake up alarm.
You're supposed to wake up at 2:43.
I'm supposed to be on my
Your nap?
my nap right now, and that's my wake up alarm.
The life of an entrepreneur.
Look at that. See
Look
that?
at Has a nap.
We should talk about the focus because of that too. See, look, I'll show you
The
this.
focus of napping?
The focus.
Oh, the focus time.
Here's
right?
my
focus
timer.
time.
See,
What is that?
this is my daily timer.
And-
Right. So what I do is I
like a
do a
single
focus
function.
a focus session, and I time myself on my breaks and everything, and I bring it everywhere I go. That's another topic.
Really, eh?
Yeah, we'll talk about
So
that focus.
no, because of that, like.
So
okay,
is that like a meditation focus, an introspective focus?
What
or work
or like
focus?
It's a work
focus?
focus,
A work
productive
focus,
focus. So what we do is switch topics here, but I focus, and Peter Drucker talks a lot about it. Greg Habstrat, Eben Pagan, a lot of guys. Tony Hesh, I think he talks a lot about it. But basically, what it is you're going to focus on one thing for an extended period of time, right? And usually, what I do is I focus for 50 minutes straight. And I teach this to everybody.
No distractions.
Like no distractions. You turn off your
nothing.
phone except for the the alarm here. But you turn off the phone, you unplug the internet, you just kind of focus on one thing for 50 minutes, and then that little timer I showed you, I do it. I set it for 10 minutes. I go for 50 minutes. I set it for 10 minutes. I get
10
up.
minute chill out.
I just go walk around, or even go lay down for 10 minutes. I don't sleep. I just kind of chill, whatever I'm going to do.
Right.
And it beeps me, and I'm going, okay, back to work. And I go back to work for another
50 minutes.
50 minutes. And then I set it for 20 minutes. And then I go and I either take another nap or I do whatever I'm doing, take a little small meal. And it's the natural progression of how your body re-energizes itself. Every couple of hours, you need to really re-energize.
You need to stop what you're doing. You
Right.
need to recharge a little bit. Yeah.
But what happens is most people in their lives,
just
all
keep
they're
going,
doing
going,
is keep
going,
going,
going. And getting
get
distracted
some
on the
coffee,
way, the whole
right?
way,
Yeah.
And they're like dead at like 2:30 in the afternoon. That's what happens.
That's why you have your nap at 2:43.
So yeah, that's what
I
happened.
started. That's funny because I started using a timer. So I used to use an alarm to wake up. Now I just use a timer. So it's not like wake up at 7 a.m. It's wake up in 6 hours. That's what I do. So I'm just like I just know I need this much sleep. So I'll just wake up whenever I go to sleep. This is when I'm waking up.
Yeah.
That's in 6 hours. So I started trying that now.
And does that work for you?
Interesting.
I've liked it.
Okay.
I really liked it because it's not like feeling guilty because I didn't wake up at a specific time. It's like no, I got the right amount of sleep that I need.
Okay, so whenever
good.
you go to sleep, you get
I
6
put my-
hours.
yeah,
I get it.
I
Okay,
put my timer on
that's
6
cool.
hours.
See, because you're listening to your body. That's what I was going to go after. See, most of the times, again, people are so afraid of what other people are going to think. And I remember even a
cares?
couple years ago, it's like, oh, what are people going to think if they call me and I'm sleeping at 2:30 in the afternoon? I really don't care because I'm listening to my body, and I'm saying I need to rejuvenate. I need to shut down. Like, I'm not a guy who can meditate. I just don't. And maybe that is my meditation.
Yeah,
I really
like 10
think
minutes.
that's probably what it is, because I kind of get into a zone and I don't really fall asleep, but I'm not
like
awake
staring
either,
into
right?
space.
Right.
So, and a lot of ideas come to me in those moments, in those 20-minute moments. So I think that's my meditation.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I don't argue with it. I don't tell myself, well, it's 3
And that's part of the
o'clock.
self-awareness,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
You know what your body needs. You know what your head needs.
Yeah.
And I find that, when you lose something, like you lose your keys or something like that. By the way, I think you still have one of my keys. But you lose my car keys. One of my sets are here still. I don't know where it is.
I don't think
But
so.
you lose
I'll
something and it's
get back
like
to you.
as you stop looking for it. You spend so much time looking for it, but when you stop looking for it, all of a sudden, oh shit, I know where it is.
Yeah.
Or you find it or whatever, and maybe you have an idea that you're working on a project or something like that. As soon as you step away, you find that it's like, oh my god, I'm getting so many more
Yeah,
ideas.
because
So I
you
stepped
cleared,
away
you
from
cleared
it.
the
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Clear
And-
space
and-
for it to come in.
That's what we were talking about, is the space, right? Is not to be afraid of that. And
So do you do that with your blogs? Do you do your blog, step away from it, and then come back and look at it?
rarely.
Rarely? You just
Rare-
go and you just...
yeah.
Okay.
Because I know when my productive time is. So there's the time every single one of us have that is the
best.
most productive creatively that we can work. And for me, it's between 8 and 10 in the morning. That's really it. That's kind of when
creative, yeah.
everything just comes out. It just flows. So I don't challenge myself with that. And I've tried to write other times, and I've tried to go back to a blog. If I don't finish it
Yeah.
in that time, well, I'll work on it tonight. And I could work for hours just trying to finish the ending or just editing a couple of things. And you're like, oh, it doesn't flow. And then you wait till the next morning, and I'm like, why didn't I see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, boom.
Because
Right?
you're not in the same headspace
Yeah.
the next day.
But most of the time, I can write a blog and post it and do everything like in 15 minutes.
Because you're on the groove.
Done.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that. And that's just the way it works for me. For other people, it's going to work differently.
I find that, in the early hours of the day, like, between, 8 and 11 o'clock, I can be the most productive. But for me, like, I find that in terms of creativity and, like, thinking and ideas and stuff like that, they come to me, like, really late at night. Like, if I'm up, like, last night I dropped off my mom and my aunts to the airport at, like, 3:30 in the morning. They're going to San Francisco. And, in that time, like, between 2 in the morning and, like, 4 or 5 in the morning, for some reason, I'm just thinking about so much shit.
Because I agree with you. It always happens to me between 4 and 6 in the morning.
Really?
Yes. And the reason is because, again, the subconscious is working. You've freed the daily conscious stuff going on in your mind. So your
All
subconscious
the other
is
stimulation
now
that's
allowed,
happening. Wow.
is
Yeah.
allowed to bring everything
Free
in,
space to
right?
bring stuff in. Yeah.
And that's why, for me, I have a notebook beside my bed, because all my ideas come at that point. And when I wake up at 6, I'm going to work on it when I wake up. It never comes back. So I've learned, okay, I can't do that. I need to get up and write it down.
Because you know what happens
Yeah.
in those times.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have those realizations. They just maybe aren't tuned into it yet.
I know. But like I met one guy and he's talking about how he has ideas for like songs and stuff like that. He's a songwriter, and for him, he doesn't have the book by the bed. Never writes anything down. It's like what his attitude is. If it's good enough, then I'll remember. Like if it's a good song, then I'll it'll. Still
Well,
be
yeah,
there.
you could look at it that way, because
If it's an epiphany, then it'll be life changing.
yeah,
If it didn't mean anything, then it wasn't worth remembering. Like
that's true. That's a good
but
philosophy,
I
right?
don't know, right? But
I mean,
I'd rather remember. I'd rather record it.
yeah. I've lost way too many good ideas by not writing them down. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm going to stick to writing them down at 4 o'clock in the morning with my little book laid and waking up my wife going, it's okay. It's a good idea.
Yeah. Turn the lights on. What are you doing?
And I had to get the super duper like big LED one too, like bing bang.
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
it like
oh,
gets you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh man.
Lights up the whole house.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's all good. It's all good.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So how are things with Donna's business and everything like that?
Donna's business is really going well. She's learning to focus now, and it's kind of. I guess
She wasn't an entrepreneur before.
No, I
right?
guess-
This is
I guess
she's a
having
first timer entrepreneur.
she is, and I guess having like a coach in the household is
Oh.
kind of challenging, right? So I got to kind of back off. let her do her thing.
It's like husband mode, coach mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. It's difficult to hear it from your spouse. Michelle and I go through that as
Where
well.
she's trying to coach you, or
She's trying to coach me, or
and
trying to tell her
then what
something.
happens? What happens? Like what do you?
It's just difficult. It's always a lot easier to hear it from somebody on the outside,
Yeah,
third party, impartial.
yeah,
Because when you have somebody who's that close to you, you always have a feeling that they're coming at you from like another angle. Mm-hmm. Where if it's somebody who's third party, impartial, they just see the situation. There's no emotional connection there.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I know. I mean, it's a lot of people in your life, like friends and family. They see the old you, right? They really know the old you,
Yo,
and
that's so
when you
true,
have
man.
history. But when you start believing in yourself and you're believing in your vision, you're not the old you anymore,
Yeah.
and you're taking steps towards what you want and what you're aligned with. Even though outside you may look exactly the same, you might, you still talk the same. Where you're going and where you're headed and how you're changing might not be apparent to the closest people around you.
Yeah.
So they still see, like the DJ. When you were in the new business, they probably just saw, it's like, who this guy is,
Yeah.
the son, and he's a DJ, and that's probably what they saw before.
Yeah.
And you have to, I mean, you have to really believe in what you're up to and just live it, rather than it's like, I changed and this is how I changed. People
Right.
really don't care or care to listen.
No, that's so
to-
true.
to your-
Sometimes
your
they
talking it.
sometimes they can sense a change, and they'll tell you, like, man, you've changed.
Yeah.
But they don't really know what it is or why or how it's relating, and they just know that they don't identify with it anymore. And they look at it, most people look at things negatively, because that's the way we're programmed, right? Where it's like default. Everything that we look at is just default negative. So the reason why so many people are not successful is because they don't program themselves or don't consciously put good stuff into their brains, because it's work. Every day we have to get up and think good stuff, or think opposite of what we're programmed to think about. So it's hard work, right? So when people look at you and you're changing and you're in that zone, right, they're still in the negative zone. So they're going, man, you've changed and we don't identify with you anymore. And I kind of take that as a compliment. Great. If you're seeing that me changing so fast, great.
Yeah,
Because I used to be like you. Like, I'm saying this in my mind, right?
Yeah.
I used to be there. It's all good.
Validation is always good. I mean, to someone to just pretty much saying that, it's like, yeah, they notice that there's a change in you. Like, it helps propel you forward even more, I believe.
It
You know,
is
even though
depends
you
on how they
shouldn't-
say it
even
and
though
who
you
says it
shouldn't
to you.
you shouldn't depend on other people's
No.
approval, but when you're living it and people are saying it, I mean, like you have your Evernote saving all people's positive comments about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I started doing that when you told me about that. I'm just like, you know what? Every time I'm feeling down, I'm going to that Evernote book, and then I'm just gonna read all these positive comments and feedback and testimonials, whatever it is, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you know
It's
what? Like, I'm
great.
doing something good and positive.
Yeah, because that's your positive binder. I mean, just even when when the kids give me something, or like a little note from when I come back from a trip or something, that goes in my positive binder.
Yeah.
Like, it's an amazing thing. It's
Makes you
not
feel
just,
good.
It
Yeah,
does.
it's
Like,
awesome.
there was something that made them do that, right?
Yeah.
So it makes me feel really good, and even a great email and thank you for helping me, or whatever that looks like. That's the positive binder. That's the movement that you're doing.
I think
You're
everyone
changing.
should. I think everyone should have a
Everybody.
positivity binder.
Everybody should have that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna keep you motivated, and you just have it there as like your backup.
Yeah.
When you're not feeling. What I've done recently is I wrote a letter to myself. And I just write pretty much. It's like, if you're reading this, then you might be going through some stuff. But I want
That's
to
cool.
I want to remind you, that like you're here to serve the world. You have so much value. You have so much experience. You have a ton of people who support you. Like, I just go on and on and on and on. And when I do feel like kind of on the lower days,
Right.
Because as an entrepreneur, your ups are your business's ups. Your downs are your business's downs. It just rides with you. So like, I'll read that and it's like, oh yeah, like it's like I'm talking to myself, and it's freaking. I think it's a
That
really
is
good
cool.
idea.
Yeah, I've never tried that
pretty
one.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. What do you do?
I just hang
You have
out with my
something like that?
kids.
Yeah.
When I need to let go and free up space, I'll just go hang out with them.
Yeah, because you know what, they
Kids,
really know how to
they
live.
know how to live, exactly. They know how to, because when you're a kid, it's all just about pleasure. They're just
Yeah.
going to do whatever they need to do to feel good. So I'll just do it along with them.
Yeah.
You got to be a kid again.
Awesome.
And that's cool at that age.
They
like
ground
6
you,
and 4, right?
Yeah.
It's good at that age because that's all they want to do is just
And
have
persistence
They
is
just wanna-
really good with them, right? Because they want something, they'll persist,
They'll keep going.
and they'll
They believe.
figure they believe they're going to get it, right?
fun. Absolutely.
So they'll try any way to get what they want, and they'll do anything to get anything. And that's, if you can take anything from that to be an entrepreneur, it's that. It's like, are you willing to do anything
Persistent.
and
Yeah,
everything
and
to
just keep
get
going
what you want?
Yeah.
Just look at a kid
That's huge, man.
in the mall, like they're dragging themselves on the floor. The kids, I want the toy, I want the toy, and they're just doing anything to get the toy. I mean, hey, they're willing to.
They're
do
the
anything.
ultimate salespeople.
They're the
Yeah.
ultimate. I love that.
Yeah. That
So let's,
tenacity is incredible.
Let's switch gears here. Well, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Meridius Radio Live. It's Oliver Manalese, buddy Christopher Lim, and Mr. Joey Ragona. And I just wanted to switch gears here and talk a little bit about the personal development seminar workshop world.
Okay.
And your thoughts on it, because, I mean, we've all done a lot of personal development. I mean, reading stuff like Robin Sharma, going to events for Anthony Robbins, Philip McKernan. You just came back from an event for Greg Habstritt's group of friends.
Right,
and,
yeah.
there's this whole movement moving towards personal development and personal achievement and changing yourself and believing in yourself, which is all very, very positive. But what I want to know from you is, how has you being in that world, you as a coach and as a speaker and surrounding yourself with those people, how has your view changed on, there's speakers out there who don't live what they say.
Right.
There's speakers out there who are not fully authentic. There's like an old world of personal development gurus,
Yeah.
and there's a new world, you
Yes.
know? And with the internet and social media and different things like that, people are able to communicate and give feedback on these different speakers and authors. The truth is there. The truth is there. So I want to get your thoughts on that world, because I mean, we've attended a lot and spent a lot of money on these types of events, and I'm sure people who are listening are considering some of these events or will be doing some in the near future.
Yeah.
Is that a can of worms, or is
Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting that one, but you see,
I think it's a good one.
it's a good one. It's a good one, and it's because I'm so tied with people that are in those industries that have even be tied directly to the individuals. Yeah, you're exactly right. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you're just not aware of, and they don't live in that space. And I think, if it comes down to membership, it comes down to numbers a lot of times. I think that's what it's really about. And what I really
It's a
love,
business. They got to make profit, right?
yeah, we're in it to make money. I get that. I really do. But if I look at where it just came from Greg's, his seminar.
What was it called? What was it?
It was the Authority Formula Live. Mm-hmm. And I think there was, if there was, maybe there's 500 people in the room. It's not a huge auditorium. It's not big. It's secluded, because those are the people that are really wanting to take action, that are really wanting to move forward. Mm-hmm. It's about the smaller groups, and that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from, I'm living what I'm doing, and I want to be who I'm telling other people to be. Like I want to be connected to the people, right? Mm-hmm.
Stay grounded.
Yeah, I want to be there. I want to understand my customer. I want to know what they're going through and feel that, and so I can identify and help them through it. And if I'm not living that, if I'm on stage and I'm so many miles ahead of them, then I can't identify with them to actually do what I'm saying I'm doing. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to a seminar where there's somebody who is at a major high level, who's got whatever it is. It's great inspiration. It's great motivation. I think that you should go to those type of things. Mm-hmm. When you're looking for someone to work with on a closer level, then that's where the connection really needs to. You need to do a little bit more homework.
Yeah, because you know what? Because there's so many people who are skeptical of doing the self-help stuff and the personal development. They look at certain gurus out there, and one tiny chink in their armor, they think it just completely discredits them. It's like, I'm not going to read their book. It's like, who's this guy to tell me how to live? This guy, divorced his last wife, and he's on his second wife, and his life, he's not perfect. It's like, why should I listen to him? Even though the content and the ideas, and like there is truth in their material, like because of social media, people just automatically discredit them just because of one tiny thing that happens. So like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's completely that's way too biased for me. Like I would move away from that, because if you're looking for, see, people look for excuses not to move forward. So that's the point.
There you
okay,
go, folks.
It's like, okay, I'm going to go pay this guy, X amount of dollars to go to the seminar, but wait a second, let me research him. Let me make sure he fits within what I want to do. And you're right. You're always going to find negativity and positivity about anything that we look at, anything out there, about all of us and about anybody, right? There's something that you just can't control that. Mm-hmm. That's the way I believe that if you identify with who you want to, learn from, mm-hmm. that's the key. So, where I go to, the seminars that I go to, and people that we talked about, Rich Sheffron and all these guys, like, I identify with them so much. I appreciate where they're coming from, and that's all that matters. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what you think about them. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
How they're going to move me forward is in my own mind. It's my own perception. Because our reality is what we believe, right? That's where what we make our reality out of it is what we believe, period. Mm-hmm. So if you believe that this person is flawed in any way and they're not going to help you, then you're not going to go to this seminar, you're going to continue to be mediocre. You're going to continue to be status quo. So the one thing is, well, let me go to that and see I want to get one thing out of this. Mm-hmm. Why don't you try to
just always look for one thing?
Just reverse the thinking.
Yeah.
Let me go to this and prove somebody else wrong.
Yeah.
Rather than going, I realize this. Yeah, those guys must be right, so I'm going to agree with that guy. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I look at it, because I always get something out of anywhere I go.
Wherever you go, there's always something. You're always looking for, like, not looking for the issues, but looking for what can I take from this.
Yes. Because repetition is the mother of all skill, right?
Yeah.
We've all heard the same information.
Like, I've been to Acre like 6 times.
How much more information do you need?
I know.
But it's the one thing that one guy
you're different. Like, you're different when you see it, when you hear the same stuff over and over again.
Exactly.
You've changed, right? You might hear something new from the same presentation.
That's right.
And I've heard your presentation, and like I'm a different person when I hear it over and over and over again, and I'm just like, there's something new that moves me and something new that I can take away from it.
Exactly. And one of the things is that what we do with our coaching clients, for instance, just by looking at perception, right? So if we're having a coaching call, then we take notes. So like, the client will take notes, and whatever they do, they usually take notes, and we'll take notes. The reason we do that is because we're both looking at the situation differently. So they see it from a different angle, and we see it from a different angle.
Yeah.
And then when they see our notes come up, they're like, "Oh, I didn't even get it that way."
Yeah,
see it
right.
That way.
Or we see theirs.
And that's what you're there for.
That's how they're seeing this. Mm-hmm. That's the magic, and that's what happens even in seminars, right? So when you go to seminars, time and time again, you're hearing the same information, but somebody else on stage says it differently in a different way, and you're like, and then it resonates with you.
Then that's how it gets to you.
Yeah. But the side note is you need to take action.
Yeah, you got to do something about it.
Don't go to the seminars and wait for the magic bullet.
Just keep filling yourself with information without doing something. Yeah.
Yeah, because if it was all left to information, we'd all be rich.
Do you think a lot of people get sidetracked because they're always looking for the next best thing, like the next best coach, the next best author, the next best this and that? Just keep constantly changing what they believe in because this guy says it compared to that guy says it. I mean, for me, there's like a very core few amount of people that I look up to. Yeah. In terms of people who are, I'd say, like their personal development gurus or like Tim Ferriss or Robin Sharma or Anthony Robbins, like people that I really go to. And other than that, it won't stray away too much. You think people get really distracted by all the new stuff that's coming out there?
They will, and you can even parallel that with electronics, computers, right? If you there's going to be a new Mac, right? So you're going to wait. How long are you going to wait until you buy your Mac?
Yeah,
right.
So you're never going to be on the internet. You're never going to do anything.
Yeah, like the iPad, it keeps coming out every year.
So it's like, okay, well maybe for me, I buy them kind of every 2 years. That's kind of in my mind. I love technology. I want the latest and greatest thing, but I'm still doing it. I'm still buying it and using it and. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with personal development.
So you gotta choose, commit, and do something about it.
Right. And if it doesn't work, then move. Mm-hmm. But at least you've done it and you go, okay, that doesn't work.
Yeah, because you gotta really buy into it. Because if you're like half into it and you're just looking at another guy, and you're half into it with what they're saying, and like you're just not fully there. You're not fully engaging. You're not fully committing to the direction that you're going in.
Right. Well, even I think Philip McKernan said it. Like you look at your wall of books, and like how many of those books have you actually read, and how much of that information did you actually take out and use?
Yeah.
Right. There's very few people like Rich Sheffron and me, like who read a book a week and take the information and really kind of use it to our advantage, right? But not a lot of people do that. They buy books and they sit on the shelf, or it's true because they just keep on looking for the next book, the next best thing. It's, you know what, the information's out there. There's nothing we're gonna learn that's not already out there.
Yes, someone has learned
already
it
out
already,
there.
and
The strategies, the tactics, everything's out there. You just have to know how to use them all. That's it.
So on the topic of books, so let's switch gears with the whole books. I guess, you know, what's your take on the content that's out there right now? Like, are there books that you would say that people should be reading right now? I know there's one that you were mentioning, Abundance.
Oh, Abundance from Peter
Yeah.
Diamandis.
Yeah.
That's a great book because it's the opposite of pretty much everything that's out there. Because it's all
It's all positive.
Yeah, it's all doom and gloom and stuff, and the world's going to end and all this kind of stuff. And Peter, you know,
You met him, right?
I did. I met him in San Diego when I was just there. So
Yeah, I saw the
it was
picture.
very cool. I was very
I
humbled.
told you I saw him on a documentary,
Yeah.
right?
You know what? I'm so proud that I've met him because
Transcendent Man is the documentary that he's in.
is that. See, I haven't seen that. I've
Yeah.
seen him on before I met him. It was TED Talks, and there was a couple things that I watched, but I didn't watch that. But I mean, I feel he's the Einstein of our time. Like
Wow.
he's
That's
just
pretty bold.
It is. He's going to be a legend. That's the way I can describe it. So meeting him and
Are
being
you
there
kidding
is.
me?
Imagine that. Imagine having a picture with somebody who's going to make such an impact in our world.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
That you can say, I stood beside him, you know, X amount of years ago. For me, that's a great honor.
Yeah.
But yeah, his book Abundance is something that everyone should read because it just looks at the world in a completely different way. That everything that everybody says that's going to, you know, there's not enough oil or there's not enough.
And this is the shift, right?
This is the shift,
yeah.
the world shift that's happening. You know, there is enough. You just need to get to it. And you know, one of the examples I think he gives on stage was, you know, if you look at a tree with fruit, you can stand up and you can pull the fruit down until it's gone. But there's more fruit at the top. All you need to do is create a ladder to get to the fruit.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of the way that if you take the whole book, that's what it's all about. The fruit
main
is there.
concept.
We just need
Is
to
that-
create the technology
so
to get to it.
So like our planet, like our human capacity, all of that capital, everything, all our resources,
The resources,
abundant.
The resources are there.
unlimited,
Yeah. Resources are there. We just have to create the technology to get to it.
and change our mindset too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at the world. You know, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not worried about, 2012. When is
Yeah.
it?
Dude, I used to.
The
I used to be-
21st? Is it the 21st?
December 21st.
Okay.
2012
Yeah,
was the last day of the Mayan calendar.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
I
thought
think
it was
my
like
wife-
2 years ago or
And that's
something.
the winter solstice. Yeah.
My wife
21st.
said that they apparently found more Mayan calendars. Is that right?
See,
I don't know. I don't follow,
keep
you
up
know.
with that stuff.
But it's kind of funny how all of a sudden they found these new calendars that's going to extend the world for us.
All of a sudden.
Right? All of a sudden,
So ridiculous.
Last year.
sorry, we
of the Mayan
looked behind the counter over there. Sorry,
It was right there.
It was,
Hey, did you read a lot when you were like in school and stuff? Like, did you?
I
Like
did.
What you were? Yeah, you on your own?
on my own.
Really?
Yeah, I would actually go to. And it's funny. I told my son this a couple of weeks ago. I was a freak with reading, to the degree where I'd go to Cole's Notes in the store and I'd read the book in the store because I was, like the Hardy Boys,
Yeah.
so I was into all that kind of stuff, right? So I didn't. First of all, I didn't have enough money to buy all the series.
Yeah.
So I'd go in and I'd read 2 of them right there, really quickly, right? And then I'd buy one. I'd bring it home, and I'd read it, but really carefully, like not. Like,
And then return it?
And then return it, right?
My God. I had a feeling that was coming.
and then read a couple more, and then I was right into reading.
That's
so I've always been
hilarious.
about knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge. See, for me, I wasn't really interested in reading until I was like in university. I didn't even realize I was so passionate about learning until I started learning about stuff that I was interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and now you are like you just love.
Yeah, and now
Yeah.
it's just like I could read. I'm reading like in the middle of like 2-3 books right now.
Yeah. See,
And I
some
read
people
books
can't-
over and over and over again too. There's books that I read over and over again, like Think and Grow Rich. I read that over and over again.
It's different when you can
4-hour
choose
work
what you
week.
want to read.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the total key. Is like
Because
reading.
you find what you're interested in,
Yeah,
and then you get the books that feed that desire.
that's right.
Are there any books that you go back to, that you've read maybe 2 or 3 times?
Marketing. One of the books that I've always read. There's one called Guerrilla Marketing.
Guerrilla marketing.
Guerrilla Marketing.
I've heard that.
Which is by Jay. The name escapes me, but anyway, if you look it up, Guerrilla Marketing is one of the Bibles of marketing. And then there's a book called Positioning, and that's by Jack Trouter.
Take notes, guys.
Yeah, Positioning is basically marketing in this one book. It just everything about marketing is in that one book. And it's funny I'm mentioning this because in some of the newer books that I'm reading, that I got tips from the guys in San Diego, and they're all about the new world and the new way of doing things. They reference positioning, and I'm thinking, and I bought that when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
So that's how
Really?
old. Yeah, it's a.
You're reading that when you're 16?
Yeah, I was 16 years old, and this is what I want to do. I want to learn business, right? So
That's huge.
it references the book, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, this sounds kind of familiar because it was kind of buried, right? Mm-hmm. I pulled it back
The
out,
book,
and
yeah.
you should see it. It's all yellowed. It's like it's crazy, but I mean, it's the Bible. Like that's one of the. If you're looking at business, and you're looking at marketing, that would be it. Mm-hmm. That's where it basically tells you how to position your company or whatever it is in people's minds. Where do you want to be positioned?
Well,
That's what it's
a great
all
idea.
about. Yeah,
I gotta pick that up.
yeah.
One book that I really like for marketing is have you read 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing?
I have.
Yeah, isn't that?
Yeah.
It's because like every chapter is a new law, and it's like 2 or 3 pages, so it's
Yeah.
just easy to consume and easy to read in a day.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Anything by Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
Obviously.
Did you read
want-
Outwitting the Devil?
Outwitting the Devil has got to be the best, the best book like I've ever read.
And the craziest part is that it was written 70 years ago, probably like 1 or 2 years after Think and Grow Rich was released,
Right.
and it was not released until last year.
Right.
And it was just so controversial, talking about the education system, about the government, about religion, about so many controversial things that they thought it would deface Napoleon Hill's name.
And
It
it's
would have.
it's
It
so
would have.
true.
Back in the
though.
day,
would've.
they would have hung him.
Yeah.
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 That book would have never seen the light of day if they tried to publish it.
Yeah.
That would have been burnt. They would have burnt the manuscript. They would have just.
Isn't that
the handwriting
insane?
would have burnt it.
Isn't that insane?
It never would have seen the light of day.
Wow.
It's an amazing it's amazing literature. And the one thing that really stands out in my memory about that book is the one line that the devil says, and he says that fear is not real until you believe it is. Pretty much. That's, I mean, I can't quote exactly what it says, but fear is not real until you believe it. And that's, to me, that is like, wow. Because we just go through life and we're going, oh, I'm scared of this, I'm scared of that. Well, you believe in it. You believe that
you believe that you're scared.
You're
Yeah.
scared of it. You've
Wow.
actually believed it. Until you don't, it's like you could look at anything in life and you could say, well,
like self-made
why would
cages.
that guy jump off a bridge?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't fearful. He didn't believe he was going to die. He just doesn't believe it. If he feels he can he can survive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but it's when you start to believe it, that's when it's real.
Wow.
So that one
intense,
line,
man.
I highlighted. I don't know how many colors. It's like,
Yeah.
but you're right. I mean, that one book, if you haven't read that
It's
book,
so. Oh
Yeah.
my god! It just covers so many things.
it's amazing. Get past the first 25 pages. That's
Yeah,
kind
because
of
like all
yeah.
like
It's
kind
kinda
of
like,
getting
you know,
into
Like
it
history
and explaining
or like
it,
the backstory.
yeah,
kind of.
how we got to
Yeah.
the whole devil interview thing.
yeah,
But for me, the coolest thing that came out of it was that one of the major themes is just think for yourself.
true.
For me, when I read it, I'm just like, wow, everything he's talking about is like, develop your mind. You have to have the way he says it is accurate thinking.
Yep.
You got to be clear-headed. You got to think for yourself. Don't listen to anybody else, and know yourself so that you can think clearly.
Which is what we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to progressively do that every day. You need to go away from the norm because you're being bombarded with all the distractions. And that's what he's talking about. That's what the devil does. He throws distractions at us every single day in every way possible. So our job is to go, no, clearly focus on what we want and think for ourselves.
Yeah, for the people who've never read this book or think that's kind of sounds insane, it's
Yeah.
it's more of kind of just it's just a way of presenting his case using the whole devil analogy. Because I know when he had his imaginary mastermind, he would think about, like, in his head, what a mastermind meaning, like how it would play out using people like Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and having these imaginary people, and then he would have conversations with himself. So sort of in the book, he kind of explains that that's what it is. It's really, it's like he puts it into a conversation just so it's easily digestible. And
Yeah, you can decide.
it's
yourself
not like he's
in the
talking
book.
to the devil.
Yeah, I mean, they say it at the beginning. You can decide whether you
For
think
yourself,
it's,
yeah.
he's talking to his perception of a devil or whatever
just
that
made
is
it.
in his mind,
Yeah.
like, whatever that is. But it doesn't even matter. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. Yeah.
Where the information comes from is amazing. How it's written out and how it applies to today. Mm-hmm. That's the power of it all.
He has I think it's like 3 or 4 pages where it's like, this is what I would do to change the education.
Oh, the
system. Oh my god.
There's 20 or 30.
That list needs to be like everywhere.
Yeah. How many times have you read that list? I mean, now it's got to resonate with you.
Oh, that's a big portion of why we continue to homeschool.
Right.
After
But
reading that,
a lot of it really affirms, the decision that we made to homeschool, and how we, it really shapes your values when you read
Right.
that book, your thoughts, your ideas, and how you perceive where you're going to go in the future. That book just changes a lot.
Right.
It's like nothing has changed for 70 years.
Yeah.
When he's writing it, it's like he's talking to us
Right.
now.
Yeah.
It's like, and Think and Grow Rich is the same thing. It's the content, the information, truth is there, and it's timeless.
And that's all it is, because all the new information, all the new books is just repackaged information told by somebody else that we resonate with.
Yeah.
Really, that's what it is.
It's not discrediting.
No,
them,
it's not
but-
discrediting at all.
I mean, that's like us, right?
Of
I mean,
course.
we learn, we absorb, and
Yeah.
we repackage it, we talk about it, and
Well, yeah, it all stems from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I mean, everything.
but
will
he is like the
eventually-
father of
yeah,
it. Eh? He's like
Yeah.
thoughts and ideas,
Grandfather.
even though they may grow or may change, when you break it down, the original thought and the idea really does go back
Starts
to that
there.
one book.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about that last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you got to think for yourself, and if you're just listening to other people, we talked about that, right? Being independent of the goods of thoughts and opinions of others. If you're listening to other people all the time, or you're just listening to the radio, 680 News, or you're just watching news, and you're not thinking for yourself, or you're just spending 6 hours watching TV all day, right? You're not thinking for yourself anymore, and that's when you will be susceptible to the devil. Right? You got to think for yourself, form your own opinions, and just be your own person.
Yeah, because really you're asking somebody else to tell you what to do. That's what it is. And that's why even when you get up in the morning, if when you're focusing your day, you're answering your emails right away or whatever that is, you're looking for somebody else to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get up and you say, "Here's what I'm going to do today," because
You're deciding
you
it,
decide your day. That's crucial. I mean, I don't know how long.
So what do you do to plan out your day? Do you plan it out the night before? Do you have like a specific system? Like
Yeah, I do. I kind of
list, or-
have a ritual. Like I was never a really to-do list kind of guy, but I have a ritual in the morning. So when I get up, because I'm so productive in that time period or creative, I allow my mind to be open. So for between 7 and 9, I read.
Okay.
Like that's all. So for
okay.
2 hours straight,
Really?
I'm reading. Like just boom, boom, boom. That's why I can
Holy
get through
crap.
a book a week, right? Because it's just
Wow.
And that's not the only time I read.
So you
but
start your day.
so I start my day with really good content, right?
Yeah.
And then
What kind of content? Is it fiction, nonfiction?
no, it's not. It's
positive?
it's all positive stuff,
Yeah.
and it's business stuff
Yeah,
or whatever it is. But it's good
So more
content.
nonfiction.
I don't read fiction anymore at all.
Yeah.
Pretty much at all.
Yeah.
So
It's hard for me too. I have that desire to consume fiction and like classics and stuff like that, but it's not as enjoyable for me because like when I'm reading stuff about real estate and business and sales and personal development and stuff like that, I'll just freaking sit there and
Yeah.
just read through it
into
like
it.
crazy, but I'm like you, like fiction. I have not.
yeah, for me, I can just
Hasn't
turn on a
come-
movie and get through fiction
I'd
in
rather
2
do it.
hours. I don't
That's so
even-
true. That's
so
so true.
that's and then what I'll do is it's not 9 o'clock or so, 9:30. I'll go up in the office and start puddling around, and then 10 o'clock I'll start checking emails, designing my day. So
Cool,
between
okay.
9:30 and 10, I'm kind of designing my day, going, okay, here's what I need to get done like today, right? But at the beginning of the week, I'll circle back. At the beginning of the week, I do make a list, like a task list.
For the week, like
for the
here's
week.
the main things.
Here are the main 3, 4, 5 things that I need to do to get me to my next goal.
Okay.
So we align, we do it with our clients. So we align everybody with where they're going. So if I'm not doing things in the week that's getting me there, why am I going to do them? Mm-hmm. Either delegate them or don't do them or whatever that is, right? So you kind of do have to plan. And there's some people who plan every day. Some of our clients do that every day, and like, hey, if that works for you, great.
Yeah.
But for me, it doesn't work. But
how's your calendar? Like, is it like a written calendar on your phone?
The computer.
On the computer?
So yeah,
is it
digital.
like set? Because I know you have the 50 minutes, 10 minutes, 50 minutes, 20 minutes, 50 minutes. Like you have that focus time. Do you have it in your calendar? Do you stack it? Like is it just filled with stuff to do?
No, because I schedule chaos. I do, like, cause
so you're just like
we can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I schedule that time. So between, like, let's say it's 7 a.m. to 12, that's focus time. Whether I'm doing 50-minute focuses or me or whatever that is.
Okay.
Maybe between, I'll take lunch, and then between 1 and 3 will be chaos time. So that means if the phone rings, or I might take the call, or whatever that is. So I'll allow interruptions in my life. Mm-hmm. So I schedule that time. And then like a Friday will be kind of all open because that's my scheduled time off, but it also allows something to be thrown into the mix.
Flexible day.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's what happens. So I kind of don't schedule a lot of stuff on that day. Mm-hmm. So my whole week is planned out that way. And then wherever I'm working, if I know it's going to be on something specific, and it could be at night too, then I'll decide, okay, well, this is going to be a 50-minute focus session. And I hit the timer and I start going. And like anybody that comes, I'm working in the office at home, so if somebody comes by and they want to interrupt me and they go, hey, Joe, and if I'm in a 50-minute focus session, I'll just put up my hand like this, and they know, and it's not like, hey, talk to the hand. It's 50-minute focus. They go, okay, we'll be back. So they know.
That's hilarious.
Right? Cause
like Will Smith.
Give me in the middle, 50 minutes. Right? Hang on, I'll be right there.
That's hilarious.
Because it just works. It just works. I don't understand why you can't put 1 hour away.
I know.
In a day. So that's for me. Like, what do you guys do?
For me, I find that really the first hour is really important to me. When I wake up, I like to I want to eat. I want to read my goals and my priorities, my vision. I read do my affirmations. I have affirmations that I do. And just kind of setting the stage and being, getting that positive energy going. And like you, I try to, sometimes I'll read in the mornings, but outside of that, I'll just work on my mindset first. That's really what it is for me. And then sometimes I'll do meditation where I just sit there for 5 minutes and just kind of just get completely aware in my body and just get centered. And then I'll start my day. When I don't do that, I try to, because I have a checklist, I have a well-being checklist.
Yeah.
And I have 10 things that I try to make sure that I do. So it's wake up at a certain time, drink this much water, make sure I get, do some music, make sure I write in my journal and do my affirmations and do my workouts or whatever it is. If I don't do because usually I could do 50 to 60% of that right away, right in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is huge. That's a lot of momentum. It's I've done 50% of this checklist already, and I'm only an hour into my waking stage.
That's amazing.
And if I just go and I'm running late or I woke up late or whatever it is, and I just go do stuff, and then I have to make up that balance later in the afternoon. It doesn't feel as good. It doesn't feel as good.
So is there a reason that you would make up the balance in the afternoon? Do you feel guilty that you haven't done it? Or?
It's not that I feel guilty. So, it's just for me. I'm tracking it, right? So I've been tracking it for maybe 8 months now.
Right.
So I can see what my average over that entire period has been, and then for me, it's just about how many 100% days can I get? How many amazing days can I get? Because it's just like you were saying, with big results, you have to have big habits. If you have to make that stuff.
So has this not ingrained into a habit for you already?
Yeah, and that's what happens.
Okay.
So usually some of them will just turn into habits, and then I'll change what's on that list.
Okay, good.
Some of them. One of them used to be drink a ton of water. That's not on there anymore because I just already drink a lot of water. One of them right now is because I'm trying to instill new habits, so it's like a reminder.
Yeah.
Stuff that turns into a regular habit already, and it'll go. I won't put more than 10. and it always rotates. Before it used to be, you know, sleep at this time, and now it's not like that anymore, right? Or now it's like sleep for this amount of time. So it does change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea because I know that we borrowed that from you for our clients.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's working. You know, I don't use it personally because I don't know why.
You have your ritual. You already have
I've got
your
my
ritual.
ritual. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I can't get better at it for right now. That
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of a tracking guy.
Yeah.
Whereas
It works for the people that it works for.
yeah, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It doesn't mean I'm not going to use it. But for me, it's like I'm more of a habitual type of person. Like I do things black or white every day. I just this is what I do every single time. You know, that's why I drive the same way. I go to the store the same way. I take the same roads.
Yeah, so you don't have to think about it.
I don't have to think about it.
Yeah,
Like it's
that's
just
true.
so habitual, and whatever that sounds like, it doesn't.
Well, you know what? Some people say like discipline is so restrictive and confining, but when you are really disciplined and you're sticking to those habits, that's true freedom, I believe.
Well,
Like,
it allows for me. It allows other things.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking
the
about
thing it
what do
does.
I have to do, right? So it's like I get up and I drink my water, then I'll have a coffee, and then I'll read, and it's all the time.
Yeah.
It just does, and you're right. If I throw it off, I feel out of whack. It's like, okay, something didn't work here. What?
Yeah.
And I know what it is.
Well, that's your system
But
in
that's-
getting into the zone of getting into that
Right.
productive state.
Right.
What's your rituals?
Most of the time in the morning, it's I get up, gotta have water or a shake, and then I get my workouts in. So it's a lot of me time.
You do it right away.
Yeah, I try to get it in right away so I don't have to worry about it. And then most of the middle part of the day is with the kids. It's schooling, making sure they're taken care of, feeding them.
So you get your stuff on yourself.
I try to do my personal stuff
Your time.
before they wake up. So hopefully, if they're, hopefully I can get my workout in and then try to get some work done before they wake up. But then if they're awake before I can actually get to my work, then the work stuff kind of comes in between. Like if they're eating, then I'll try to get some work done. Or,
Right.
If they're doing some quiet play time or some reading time, then I'll try to get some work in. If not, I'll just wait until the end of the day to get my work done, my work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's what
I'll get
happens,
my
right?
reading
Like-
time in as well. Usually before bed is where I'll get my reading time.
Yeah.
So I'll get some, put them to bed. Then I'll get my work done, my quiet time again, reading, and then to bed.
Yeah. Because you see, if you go back to the value system, like your values are huge. Like that's really what I'm seeing is driving your life, is your values, right?
Yeah.
So, and your values are your family and your kids and you. Like those are huge for you, and that's what you're making your decisions based on those values. And that's really what the
Absolutely,
secret
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So, people's values are all out of whack sometimes. That they're saying one thing, but they're not making decisions based on those values.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is really positive.
Well, because, with my life right now as well, is Michelle's career is really taking off, and a lot of what I'm doing is taking care of the kids. So my values, my work, I do value my work, but that to me...
But it's not on the
is
top of the
after.
list.
It's not. No,
Yeah.
taking care of myself first, right? I get my workout in, I get myself fed. I try to get some work done, but if not, if the kids are there, that's my next value. Right? I got to take care of
That's
me
number-
first, then
number
I
two.
take care of the kids. They're
It's
number
the
two.
oxygen mask.
Right?
Yeah,
Provide
that's
Michelle,
right.
yeah. Provide Michelle the opportunity to make sure that she's
The conducive
shining, she's
environment,
doing what
yeah.
she needs to do. So I take care of the kids, and then my work comes after that, right? My work and then my reading time will come after the kids, and that's my value system, right?
Okay, so here I got a question for both of you, because me as a single guy, and we're all driven and confident people and goal oriented. You have habits. We all have rituals that get us into the zone, and we have our belief systems, our values, and things like that. But right now, I'm not in a relationship. But
Okay.
I guess maybe in your client's world, how does that, like, because I know there are people out there, maybe they're in a relationship. One of them might be just an entrepreneur, completely driven, and the other person is not that they're not driven or whatever it is, but it's just like they're going at a different pace in terms of self-development and self-awareness. Like, what are your comments on that?
That's a big one.
I think it's huge.
It's huge. We talk, I think that where we're looking at our clients, we we truly believe that there needs to be a support system in place. Like what you're doing with Michelle is absolutely amazing. That's why I really give you props for that, because you're supporting her in what she's doing and she's supporting you. But you're on different pages, right? Doesn't mean you're doing exactly the same thing, but you're supporting each other. So I completely believe that you need to have a support system in place. And for us, we're trying to bring that element to our coaching because we want the other person involved. Where, like you said, one person starts doing something and then they have to come back. And even with a partnership, like I've been through enough partnerships, and my family's been through enough partnerships that have gone like completely haywire because they don't understand it and all this kind of stuff. So I've been in that zone, and what I'm trying to bring is the fact that bring in the partnership, the spouse or the partner, so you can identify what that one goal that you're going for. Doesn't mean that the other partner has to follow you along and do the same exact things, but they're supporting. Yeah. Right? That's an important thing for me, because we found that people go back, especially in a partnership. Okay, here's what we learned from Joey and Mike. Here's what they said. And then they got to teach it to that person, and then they can't teach it in the same way because you're playing the telephone game now.
Yeah.
So
you're in that zone where you're trying to change somebody.
Yes.
Right? Is that?
That's right. And when we're looking at somebody like in a relationship, spouse or partnership, we're not tied to it. So we can give you a 30,000 foot view and say, guys, look, you guys shouldn't be partners. Like, if that's what I'm going to think, I'm going to tell you that, because that's the reality of it. It's going to come out sooner or later.
Yeah.
So it's just that it's just black and white. You know what I mean? But I mean, it doesn't happen a lot. But if that's the case, that's what will happen. But more than likely, what we do is we ask the hard questions between two of them that they're not going to ask each other. That's the reality. That's where the magic starts to happen. That's where, I never thought about that. I never thought that he thought this way, because they're answering questions in front of it. It's almost like marriage counseling or partnership counseling, whatever you want to look at it, but in a business sense. It's a completely different level. Yeah. So I truly believe that it's important
to have the support aspect.
Complete support.
Because I could only imagine. Because I go back into previous relationships that I've been in, and because of my personal growth, and my ex's, situation where they were not growing themselves, it was like I was trying to take them with me, and doing so much to try and get them on the same path and take the same courses and workshops and stuff like that with me. And I don't think looking back, that was not the right move. Well, I don't think that's the right.
It's like an elastic band, right? If they're staying put, there's only so much that elastic band is going to stretch before it breaks.
Yeah. But you can't be there to push them.
No, you can't do that either.
They have to be self-motivated to pursue.
That's the point. The point is that if you continue to motivate somebody that doesn't want to be motivated, eventually they're going to snap. Right?
Literally snap.
Literally, they're going to snap. They're going to just. So to me, it's like, well, let's get to it now. Let's put it on the table. That's why for anything that we do in business, I've always been that way. Here's the good. Here's the bad. What do you think? Here's everything. I'm not going to hold anything back. Let's make a decision now. Wow. Rather than just going, okay, well, I'm going to hold this back just to get the deal. Like, forget that.
Right. Yeah. Wow, I think that's so freaking important.
Well, why should you hold it? Why should you pretend to be something you're not? Period. And even when it comes down, let's turn it back to business. Why should you try to fit a solution when you don't have the right solution for somebody or the product just because it's in your inventory?
Because everyone's on their own path individually,
come on.
Right?
Yeah,
you're on your own path.
Everybody's there. If the solution fits,
you have to be parallel. Like, you can maybe not on the exact same path, but in the same direction.
In the same direction is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think going back to the values, right? You gotta have the same values.
You got a 30,000 foot view. You gotta have the same freaking.
Yeah. You gotta be going in the same direction. I know, absolutely. So I've got sort of two answers. So on the business side, because that's something that I think Oliver and I we did. Like, we sat down and we had that discussion. What do each of us bring to the table? And we tried to answer those hard questions early. And I think that's how we're able to have such a good working relationship with each other from the past business. And then even just sort of, because we had those discussions, letting go was easy, right? Now on the marriage side, I believe, yes, both of you have to be, or partnership have to be going in the same direction. And I don't necessarily, like Michelle and I, we don't always read the same things, but we do have the same values. And she does a lot of, she loves a lot of Abraham and stuff like that. And I don't listen to it, but it's not something that we hold against each other. Like, I love the fact that she does
get something out of it
because she gets a lot out of it, and I don't, right? But we still have the same values. And I think in the beginning, it was a lot of, she's like, you got to read this book. And it was me, it took me I had to get to that point where it's like, okay, yes, I do want to read it. Because when somebody's trying to push it on you, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm
never,
so guilty of that.
I don't
with
like
my
that.
Wife. I've calmed down now, but I mean, even with Outwitting the Devil, and she's reading it, and like other things, I'll just say this is a great book. But now it's like, you know what, she'll get to it around her own time.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most things in my life that changed mine was the fact that she's always believed in me, and being able to just shut down things and just going, okay, whatever he's going to do, it's going to work. That's important. That's really important. Even though she wasn't maybe doing the personal development that I was and all those things, now maybe she's doing a little bit more.
And she was behind you,
but she was still there. We were still, and my
That's
values.
cool,
I mean, I can admit that my values were totally messed up in my earlier life, right? And those are the things that I'm changing to get better. So
yeah, you were like, and you're not afraid to talk about
not at all.
Who you've become and who you were before.
Right.
So when you tell me stories about, your past, it was almost like a past life. It was like a whole other freaking book. It's like a whole other chapter in your life.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. I think people would be interested in hearing about the transformation. And
I think, we talk about, I think people are afraid to say that things are for themselves, or, they're being selfish and doing things for their, and I was always doing things for myself, but on a major scale. Like I was very self-centered. It was only for me, pretending it was for other people. Right. So it was like,
masking it as,
I'm doing it for this, I'm doing it for that. And I just disrespected a lot of people.
Wow.
So it was like, in the music business, or we're talking about support. So when I was, in the music business or dating, girls and stuff like that, if they didn't support my vision of business, then I would just go find somebody else who did. So I'd be like bouncing around and not disrespecting this girl, disrespecting that one. Not in a bad way, but just not valuing them as a human being. Mm-hmm. Just look at you, just whatever, right? And it was not cool. So I just completely changed that whole vision. It wasn't who I wanted to be anymore. Disrespecting people in that sense. So by meeting my wife, she helped me change my value system to truly believe in people and another human being to support me in that way. Right. So, but I was still, when I met her, don't forget, I'm still pretending that I'm doing it for my family, and I'm doing it for those, whatever it is, 10 years or so, I'm still kind of,
that's 10 years of habits, right?
I'm still kind of going, I'm not disrespecting her, but in the sense I'm disrespecting everything else. So, I'm just pretending to be somebody I'm not. I'm just saying, this is for my family, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm missing my son's, his life, and spending hours in the studio working.
I freaking cried when you were telling me that story.
It's a powerful story because that's kind of where I am now in seeing other people doing it and going, I don't want you to get to that point, because they a lot of them say, well, I just want to keep doing business, and I know when I get married or when I have kids, I'll do this and I'll do that. You won't, because I can already see the trap. I can already see
built that trap for yourself.
That you're looking for distractions, and you're always busy, and you're afraid of the space, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of
where
I was.
If you're doing that now, and you're not spending that time or making the space for that time now, you're not going to make space for it. When you don't even have one property now. When you have 10, you think you're going to make space when you have 10 properties? No.
Yeah. So basically, if we roll it all back, I was just an asshole. Like that's really it. So for the good portion of my life,
you're a jackass.
I was an asshole to people. Like really.
Really?
And I could freely admit it, and it's like I'm just not. That's not who I am anymore. Like I am. I haven't changed and who I really am. It's my attitude towards people that I've changed, and learn how to respect and to say, okay, this is
honoring other people.
Things have changed that way.
Yeah.
So I'm still who I am. I still believe in
you're
me.
You're more who you
and
are now.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm selfish.
Because it sounds like you
but
were not authentic.
in a good-
about,
in a
you were
good-
not authentic about who you were being back then.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now, because you do know yourself so much more, and you do honor what you're really actually about, then that has allowed you to spread that outwards as well.
Yeah, I wasn't authentic in terms of me being like why I was doing things. That was the mask, like covering up here, like what it was all about. But now it's more. It's like I didn't give a shit what you thought back then, and I don't really give a shit about what you think now. But I respect that you don't.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason I'm doing something. There's a reason I'm doing something that if you don't like what I'm doing and believe in what I'm doing, then that's okay. I don't give a shit.
Right.
That's fine. That is completely different than back here, right? Back here, I was more about trying to impress everybody. Trying to like, hey, I am the best DJ, and I'm going to show you why, whatever that is.
That was really for other people. You're trying to...
exactly. And proving myself to everybody else, and it's bullshit.
Have you done? You know what the disc is?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you done that for yourself?
For sure. We give it.
So disc? If people don't know what it is, it's a personality type of test. D is for like dominance and direct. I is for influencer. S is for stable. And C is for compliance. So there are different types of personalities. We all have aspects of every single one of those.
Yeah.
What was yours?
I
did it recently.
Mine is a high in I and S.
Okay.
I'm kind of like there. Like to bring people into my life, I would need more of a D and a C.
Okay.
We have a very extensive one that we give our clients. It's like 65 pages. It's way above like the disc. It includes the disc, but yeah, it's intense.
That's sick.
So it gives you a whole person, like everything about you, and it's really impressive when you look at it. You're going, wow, I can't believe it because you answered all these questions. It's amazing. It's about 65
so you're
pages.
high I, S?
Yes, and then I adapt. I think I adapt on the S or the C level. Like in a social situation, your disc changes, right?
There is your public self, there is your true self, and there's your perceived self.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So your public self is how you show up when there's other people around. Your true self is how you actually are, and then how you see yourself is the third way. So you're saying your true self is the high I, which means you're very sociable. You're really the influencer. You're obviously no problems in conversations and social settings and things like that. S is more the stability. Like you're very loyal. You're very trustworthy.
That's right. Yeah. That's why I'm in that zones, and the D is more for the like dominance and more decision making.
So when it's needed, you have that.
Then I use it. Like it's not low, but I'm kind of average on the D and the C.
Yeah.
And then
you're not low. You're at the okay.
I'm on the average. Yeah. And then I adapt. Like the D kind of stays where it is, and the other ones adapt.
Yeah. I found out that mine is high I, and every one of those they look exactly the same. Like the public self, my true self, and
that's
the
cool.
way I perceive myself. It's very consistent. The only difference is in public, I'm a little bit more I, so I'm a little bit more social, more center of attention kind of thing. To like when I'm alone with a smaller group of friends, like I have no problem not being the center of attention. Like
you see,
not
like
talking.
that's.
But they all have the same shape. And then I'm equally the same for all of them across the board with D and S. Or D and C, sorry.
D and C, yeah.
So direct, like being direct, and as well as compliance. So being very analytical and thinking about things. But the fact that I have that D is once I've thought about it and decided, then that D makes me go and take action on it.
Right, exactly.
And the S, I'm very below, like very low S.
Okay. Yeah, because if you're too analytical, like over here, I'd never be able to get to where I am.
Yeah.
Like, because some people are really high C's, right? And it's very analytical.
It would be hard for them to make a decision.
Exactly, because then you're lower on the D side. So you overthink everything. So I get to a point where it's comfortable. Like
actually, that's really good for partnerships and relationships.
That's why we do it.
That out, yeah.
If you bring in the same compatibility, it's not going to work because you need those other components to make things work, right?
Have you done that test?
No.
You haven't?
Where'd you get that test?
I did it at online. You go just disc. I think it's Discus Online or something like that.
I think even
there's one on AnthonyRobbins.com as well. They have a 100-page explanation on it as well.
Wow.
Okay.
It's freaking extensive, man.
That's cool.
So you do the test. It's a couple questions, and then it tells you a lot about who you are and what you're all about. Finding out that my perceived self, my public self, and my true self is all aligned. They're all exactly the same. I'm just like, wow. So I have no problems just being me, no matter
That's
what
cool.
the scenario is. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
No, I could see that though, because you're not a different person, no matter
Around
who you're
anybody,
talking
yeah.
to. You're gonna get the same Oliver.
I'll send that. I'll
across the
send it
board.
to you so you can take
Yeah.
it. It's really cool.
Or what's you can go to Jay Niblick's site as well. What's your genius?
What's your genius?
Yeah, that's where we get ours from.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try that.
You can try there's a free one, but I don't think it's as intensive.
Yeah.
But, then there's another one.
Okay.
But I think that when the adaptation for me is this fact that a lot of people. I mean, I always say that I'm not social or I'm antisocial.
No way.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
you're
seriously,
high, dude.
yeah. But it's more about when I get into a social situation,
Then
that's kind of why I
you're the high
adapt.
eye.
It's
Yeah,
not
okay.
it's not that I'm high eye. It's more that I kind of adapt in terms of me being comfortable with the situation.
Okay.
Right. So you adapt automatically. So like in this situation, it's cool. I know you. Everything's really good. I'm not adapting. I'm just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I go into a bigger social situation, I got to
You
kind
don't
of
know people.
yeah, I kind of got to
and
feel it all out and
everything's
go,
new.
okay, where can I take control? Like one of my core
Warm up
values
and-
is like celebrity, and that doesn't mean like superstar. It
Yeah.
just means I like to be in the limelight, like you.
Yeah.
Like I like to be that guy, right? That's why I like
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing.
Some people are afraid to admit that stuff. They
Not-
think there's something wrong with it.
No, but
not at all.
it's celebrity doesn't mean what you think it means.
yeah.
It's just what they call it, right? But I'm one
Oh,
of my core
in that
values.
analysis, in that what's it called? What's your genius?
Yeah,
That's what they call
it's
it?
a core value.
Celebrity?
Like you can go through all kinds of, what your values are, what your big things are, and you just kind of zero it all down.
Okay.
And celebrity happens to be one of them. And I know that because when I'm in that situation and I can be kind of the center of attention, then I can take it on and do what I need
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
to do.
you own it.
I like to be in that spotlight, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to admit that. But it's a good place to know all of your core values because then
know.
you can align everything with that.
And it's cool because then you know how to interact with people, and when you know your personality, you know your behavioral traits, you can see other people's behavioral traits.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to people now that I'm sort of more aware, I can kind of see how I can communicate with them and be more relatable to them.
Exactly.
You know.
Because you can immediately pick out a high D or high I or whatever that is, right? You
Yeah.
can adapt that way too. Because if two eyes come and clash, that's major, right? So you gotta decide
It's ego versus ego.
what do I want to do
there.
here?
Yeah.
You know?
Because high D is just like, oh yeah, here's the simple way to do it. I think is high D is what they always ask what, right? Like what. I think I is they ask who, right? It's always about the people. S is about I think it's why. I think it's why. I think it is. And then C is for compliance, which is that question is
How?
I think it's how. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
The main
I can't
question is
remember how it goes anymore, but
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
really cool. It's really cool.
it'll really give you an insight on
Yeah,
who you
on,
are.
on yourself.
Like it's
We're gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
completely
And,
amazing.
you'll be able to confirm it too. But you know what? I know that I did it twice. One of them was high D and then I, and then I did another one. It was high I, and then the D and S or D and C.
So why was the difference?
So apparently, depending on what's going on, it can change.
True.
Depending on what's
'Cause
going
you're-
on in your
you're
life and
answering.
when you're answering it. Yeah.
Like were you answering them pretty much?
There were two different tests. One was online. One was written.
Did you answer them honestly all the way through?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah. That's
It's
and
weird that
the
that's
algorithm
very
is different too from every
Yeah, I have
place
no
too,
idea.
right? Like the way that they.
Either way, you get some good insight on it on yourself when you do
Yeah.
it.
So I would do it again. I would try and do it again.
I do.
See-
I do it for. Yeah, there's one on Anthony Robbins. It's one of the most extensive ones, so I'm gonna do that one. And they have like a huge, like a couple. I think it was like 100 pages of a breakdown of what your personality is.
Yeah, that's kind of
That's
the
a
one that
lot.
we get back. It's
Okay.
about 65 pages long or something like that.
Okay,
It's,
that's huge.
It's intense. Yeah,
That's cool, man.
Wow,
That's
I
good for
mean-
partnerships.
for sure. Partnerships, I think, is one of the most important things. Marriage and if you're just dating somebody, like it has to have some sort of balance. It has to have respect, and it has to have the support. That's, one of the major things I took from life with my marriage is the fact of the support. That was it. If it wasn't for that, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you in this mindset like right now, which is important.
I think the mindset is completely different in this circle of people. and the people that we surround ourselves with. I mean, I saw your newsletter the other day, and it's pretty much just kind of behind the curtain of the financial industry.
All right.
And I think that's really big, because I just saw one whole segment yesterday that Brian Prasad put on his Facebook. It was like personal debt. It was, it was all about personal debt, and they had like a panel of people. So they had like some freaking economist guys, people from the bank, big banks. Then they had Gail Vaz-Ogslade, which is she has her own show, right?
Yeah.
The Debt Lady, right?
Yeah.
So her opinions, like, I resonated with her so much. I'm just like, wow, like, she's the only one who's making sense. All these big, like, suited up guys, like, they're like, what the hell? They don't know shit.
Yeah.
They're so up in the freaking sky, and they're talking about the way the banks work and the institutions and stuff like that. Whereas she's more like, I'm dealing on the the one-on-one cases, like what's happening at the individual level. Like, that's way more important.
Yeah, the real outcome, the effect,
Yeah.
what's happening because of all you, because
Yeah.
of what's out here, and
So what's your feeling on the whole market and the whole financial situation? And
I'm not an expert to speak about
Okay.
that. I separate myself from that a lot, because if I need to know information, I call Al, or I got people that I can speak
Okay.
with. But in terms of the movement and educating people,
Yeah.
I'm really 100% behind that. I mean, I'm trying desperately to get out there and just spread information
yeah,
for free. I don't need to be paid for it. I just like the education system or whatever that is, and especially about the financial system, because that's why I posted in my newsletter.
yeah,
is because
that was huge.
it was just
some controversial stuff in there,
wait till you see the next couple newsletters. Like it's gonna be
because it's not like bashing them. It's just like, you gotta freaking look what's going on.
You
look
have
at what's
to.
going on
Gotta
behind the
understand
curtain.
it.
and I
And
take
what their motivation is, and how do they profit? How do they make money? And
that's right.
it's
Yeah, you got to know the system.
yeah,
Yeah, and we've from the information that I take back from my customers, which are joint venture potential partners, the information they get back, and words are that they use in the industry, or the way that they think about the financial industries, they've been screwed. Those aren't that's not my language.
yeah.
Think about that. When you say to somebody, "What do you think about the financial thing?" Well, they keep screwing me. Like, that's pretty
That's
powerful.
pretty- yes.
It's very powerful.
big, yeah.
So okay, if you feel that way and you don't know how they're screwing you, then I'm gonna show you how they're screwing you. So I'm not gonna benefit from this. I just want you to be in a completely different level, like where we were. Because when I started, investing in real estate, and because of the business and the studio, I never had RSPs or set up for my future. I wasn't in that mindset.
stocks
I
and
was
stuff
like,
like that.
forget all this kind of stuff. Then I started reading other books, which were, maybe I should. So I'll put 10% of my income away, and I started
you
with
tried
that whole
okay.
model.
Okay.
Then you kind of, a year later, you move into a different level, and then you get to know people. And then, a couple years later, here I am going, holy crap.
What the
Like,
hell?
look how fast I got involved in this one thing in that short amount of time, and how much money I actually lost in that short amount of time. Like, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh my
right?
god.
And it's not to impress anybody about that. It's just that, imagine that a small time
Losses
period.
aren't impressive.
It's not about the money at all.
man.
It could be $5 to somebody who only has $10.
It's just crap.
It's
yeah.
but
It sucks.
I look back at everybody that I speak to who've been doing this for a long time, 20, 30 years, and going, my God, I could only imagine how much you're going to lose, or you've already lost. All I want to do is stop the pattern, stop the bad habit. That's all.
Wow.
So that's what this is about. And if they want to move into a better vehicle to invest, hey, we can talk about that. But that's not what this is about. Mm-hmm. This is about taking control of your life, thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
and all
Thinking
that.
for yourself for sure. yeah.
Exactly. Don't let somebody else control your life.
Well, when you have, so usually it's like, what is it? A financial services provider? Like, what are they called? They're money managers. What are they?
Well, they're kind of money coaches.
financial
They're,
advisors.
They're financial advisors. So,
oh,
if
you're talking about the
let's say you
financial
have-
advisor, right?
Let's say you have, $10,000.
Yeah.
And you want to invest it into the open market, like the public markets. Like, you're going to put it into the bank, you're going to put it into, put it into RIM, maybe not RIM. You're going to put it into the public stocks, right? Essentially, like, you're playing a game where there are like fund managers who are managing billions of dollars and deciding where to invest that money. Like, who are these financial advisors? Like, and are they able to manage that your $10,000 better than that guy who's managing, billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like that's a freaking big game to be playing in. Like I don't know if I would want to be in that race at all.
That's the big picture.
That's crazy.
The smaller picture is when the advisor comes to your house. Okay, the smaller picture is, and you stirred up a bug here, and I'm gonna just go for it here. But there's a person who just got out of college last week, or who was a painter last week, who went through a course, and now they're coming to your house and they're going to control, whatever it is that you have, your assets, who don't know anything, and that's just the reality of it all. That's
right.
what because they're being taught by the governing system. This is what you need to sell. This is how you do it, right? So they don't know any better. It's not that they're bad people. They just don't know.
Right. The core is
they
the
don't know what
system.
the core is. The core is to keep your money invested as much as possible.
So they keep their
they just move it around. That's all they do. As
Shuffling.
long as they can keep your money in the investment, they make money off
the
of you.
system.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So it's not like you make money and then they make money.
Yeah, they
it's
don't.
Not like
it's not like that at all.
commission.
And
So
it
it's
looks. They make it look like that, but it never happens.
horrible.
So in the last 10 years, and I only know this because I spoke to Alan Sheeman, who you can go to defendyourwealth.com.
Defendyourwealth.com.
He's the guy. He was a major financial planner who just got rid of his license. And I respect him so much because of the message he's bringing. So defendyourwealth.com, Alan Sheeman. And what, in his last presentation, it blew me away because the simplicity is over the last 10 years, just on the TSX, whatever it is, the SPX, whatever, I don't know.
TSX.
Whatever the right terminology is. All I know is that
cares?
it only gave a 0.5% return on your money over 10 years.
Oh my god. That's
So 1.5%, and that's
inflation's like 3 to 5%.
that's before inflation. That's also before the
Taxes.
fees that you got to pay
Fees.
them, because the fees you got to pay 2.5% to them.
Wow.
You're better off putting your money under the mattress.
Yeah, so think about that.
Oh my god.
So I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial expert. I don't promote
But you
myself
go to
as
experts,
that.
yeah.
Right? I go to the guys that get me the information that I could give to everybody else. So my message is, put me in a medium like this, and I completely thank you for this. But put me in a medium that I could at least educate somebody. I don't mean to sell anything. Al's not selling anything. He's just trying to tell you the truth.
The truth, yeah.
That's
Educating.
what it is.
Yeah.
If you want to invest, then you go to an independent advisor who has nothing to do with making money off of your investments.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about.
Right.
Kind of when we do real estate.
Yeah.
We are going to make money off of real estate, but we don't make money unless you make money.
yeah.
Right? If you don't make money, we
The
don't.
deal
make money.
has to make money. Yeah.
That's the bottom line. That's what I love about independent money coaches.
And I think
like that.
it's a lot of people. You could comment on this. They go to financial advisors and lose their money, and they don't take responsibility for it because now they can say, "Well, I lost 10 grand because my money
advisor
manager,
screwed
because
up."
my advisor he screwed up," and they just offload the burden, the onus on somebody else,
Right.
Rather than saying, "It's like, hey, I'm gonna teach it myself. I'm gonna learn myself because pensions out there are not reliable anymore." Depending on the company I work for is not reliable anymore for my retirement. Like, I need to manage my own money and learn it myself and go to seminars and talk to people like the way you do, talking to experts in their fields. Rather than doing that, a lot of these people they just go to the bank, the big banks, and just let them handle the money. And if something bad happens, like, oh, well, the bank made a bad decision, rather than like really doing it themselves.
Well, I think that's what it is. Al will tell you his story about one of the reasons why
I'd love to hear
he
that, yeah.
let go. And I think really it comes down to the fact that when the financial industry crapped out in 2008, okay, all of his clients lost money except him and his dad, period. That's why. Wow. And you know why?
Oh, wow.
Because him and his dad, he put in different vehicles. He goes, okay, I got to protect the money. But his dad said to him, well, why didn't you do that for other people? Like that's one question, he goes, why didn't I do that?
That's crazy.
Okay, so imagine that. Imagine that. That's what's going on. And that blows me away. So that's kind of where I want to be. So for me to come up and say, well, here's what I've lost, here's what I've done, like it doesn't matter. The reason is I'm telling you the truth because I'm taking responsibility. This is what I did to try and get better wealth. Didn't work. Here's how I screwed up, and here's what I'm doing to make sure it's going to get better. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you my story, and I've never been worried about telling my mistakes.
Yeah. Because your mistakes can help someone avoid.
That's right, and it's my mistake, and I'm getting better at it too. Right,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you're right. If it's going to help somebody else, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think we can go freaking on and on about the financial system and the financial industry.
We'll have to do it another time.
I know. There's so much there. But what's up next for you? Because I know that with the coaching, that's taken off. You got your blog, which is going strong consistently. Is there anything else in the future that you see, like speaking or events or any books that like you're going to be writing a book or anything like that?
I think that I'm just trying to zone it down and make sure that I continue doing one thing and focus on that really well.
Don't
build
get
that up.
distracted. Yeah, okay.
And like speaking
Good
is
idea.
always kind of intertwined with that. Like I always like getting out and
Yes.
speaking about what I'm doing and helping people build their business or learning about wealth and financial industry, whatever that is. So those are always around. So anytime a speaking event comes up, I'm there.
Yeah.
But in terms of bringing other stuff into my life not yet. I want to focus on everybody else's business, bring that up to a level where we are comfortable with what we do, and then we kind of look forward into doing something else. Kind of like the Richard Branson type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Get the business built, then move on to do something and start another business type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I guess that's a huge way to look at it, rather than just doing all these things. Just make sure that you're honing in and perfecting your business, your primary focus, rather than splitting your attention and stuff. Because you could write a book, you could do all that stuff.
Yeah, and I've done that. Like I've spent a lot of time doing other different things, but not really focused.
Yeah.
And again, I wouldn't be who I am if I'm telling other people to do that and I'm bouncing around doing everything else. Mm-hmm. So it's not being authentic. Yeah. So I am focusing on what I do, and when I tell people about building foundational real estate, that's what I'm doing too. Mm. So you don't need to bounce around and do every kind of type of real estate. Just focus on one type.
That's beautiful, man.
Awesome.
Frig, I'm so happy that you came.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Agreed to be on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
Engagedinvestor.ca would be the blog. Okay. So engagedinvestor.ca. You could also email me directly at service@engagedinvestor.ca. That's ENGAGED, investor.ca. That's it.
And are you on Twitter or Facebook?
Oh, Twitter, yeah, Twitter. How can I forget Twitter?
What's your name
what's
on
the
Twitter?
handle?
Is it Joey Ragona?
I think it's Joey Ragona, yeah.
Okay.
And then Facebook is the same thing.
Yeah,
you could
so
find
facebook.com/Joey Ragona.
Yeah, find me there.
Awesome.
Yeah,
well, it was a
I
pleasure
appreciate
freaking
this.
having you, man. I'm sure we're gonna have you on again sometime soon.
I hope so.
And we can continue the conversation, continue the growth.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
Cool. Radius Radio Live. We're closing out. Christopher Lim, Oliver Manleys.
Cheers.
See you guys next week. Have a great one. Take care.
You're supposed to stop it now.
Yeah, you're supposed to stop it now. See you guys.